Unit 3 Electrochemistry. Chemical reactions can be used to produce electrical energy. Conversely, electrical energy can be used to carry out chemical reactions that do not proceed spontaneously. Electrochemistry is the study of production of electricity from energy released during spontaneous chemical reactions and the use of electrical energy to bring out non-spontaneous chemical transformations. The subject is of importance both for theoretical and practical considerations. A large number of metals, sodium hydroxide, chlorine, fluorine, and many others chemicals are produced by electrochemical methods. Batteries and fuel cells convert chemical energy into electrical energy and are used on a large scale in various instruments and devices. The reactions carried out electrochemically can be energy efficient and less polluting. Therefore, study of electrochemistry is important for creating new technologies that are eco-friendly. The transmission of sensory signals through cells to brain and vice versa and communication between the cells are known to have electrochemical origin. Electrochemistry is therefore a very vast and interdisciplinary subject. In this unit, we will cover only some of these important elementary aspects. Electrochemical cells. In class 11th, we had studied the construction and functioning of Daniell cell. This cell converts chemical energy liberated during the redox reaction to electrical energy and has an electric potential equal to 1.1 volt when concentration of Zn positive and copper to positive ions is unity. Such a device is called galvanic or voltaic cell. If an external opposite potential is applied in the galvanic cell and increased slowly, we find that the reaction continues to take place till opposing voltage reaches the value 1.1 volt. When the reaction stops altogether and no current flows through the cell, any further increase in the external potential again starts the reaction, but in the opposite direction. It now functions as an electrolytic cell, a device used for using electrical energy to carry non-spontaneous chemical reactions. Both types of cells are quite important and we shall study some of the salient features in the following pages. Galvanic cell. As mentioned earlier, a galvanic cell is an electrochemical cell that converts chemical energy of a spontaneous redox reaction into electrical energy. In this device, the gives energy of spontaneous redox reaction is converted into electrical work, which may be used for running a motor or other electrical gadgets like heater, fan, geyser, etc. Daniell cells discussed earlier is one such cell in which of the following redox reaction occurs. Zn solid plus copper to positive aqueous gives Zn2 positive aqueous plus copper solid. This reaction is a combination of two half reactions whose addition gives the overall cell reaction. Cu2 positive plus 2 electron gives copper, that is reduction half reaction. Zn gives Zn2 positive plus 2 electron, oxidation half reaction. These reactions occur in two different portions of the Daniell cell. The reduction half reaction occurs on the copper electrode while the oxidation half reaction occurs on the zinc electrode. These two portions of the cell are also called half cells or redox couples. The copper electrode may be called the reduction half cell and the zinc electrode the oxidation half cell. We can construct innumerable number of galvanic cells on the pattern of Daniell cell by taking combinations of different half cells. Each half cell consists of a metallic electrode dipped into an electrolyte. The two half cells are connected via a metallic wire through a voltmeter and a switch externally. The electrolytes of the two half cells are connected internally through a salt bridge as shown. Sometimes the electrodes dip in the same electrolyte solution, and in such cases we do not require a salt bridge. At each electrode electrolyte interface, there is a tendency of metal ions from the solution to deposit on the metal electrode, trying to make it positively charged. At the same time, metal atoms of the electrode have a tendency to go into the solution as ions and leave behind the electrons at the electrode, trying to make it negatively charged. At equilibrium, there is separation of charges, and depending on the tendencies of two opposing reactions, the electrode may be positively or negatively charged with respect to the solution. A potential difference develops between the electrode and the electrolyte, which is called electrode potential. When the concentrations of all species involved in a half cell is unity, then the electrode potential is known as standard electrode potential. According to IUPAC convention, standard reduction potentials are now called standard electrode potentials. In a galvanic cell, the half cell is in which oxidation takes place is called anode, and it has negative potential with respect to the solution. The other half cell which reduction takes place is called cathode, and it has a positive potential with respect to the solution. Thus, there exists a potential difference between the two electrodes, and as soon as the switch is on, the electrons flow from negative electrode to positive electrode. The direction of flow of current is opposite to that of electron flow. The potential difference between the two electrodes of a galvanic cell is called cell potential and is measured in volts. The cell potential is the difference between the electrode potentials, reduction potentials of the cathode and anode. It is called the cell electromotive force (EMF) of the cell when no current is drawn through the cell. It is now an accepted convention that we keep the anode on the left and cathode on the right while representing the galvanic cell. A galvanic cell is generally represented by putting a vertical line between metal and electrolyte solution and putting a double vertical line between the two electrolytes connected by a salt bridge. Under this convention, the EMF of cell is positive and is given by potential of the half cell on the right hand side minus the potential of the half cell of the left hand side. That is, EMF of cell equals to E right minus E left. Cell reaction: copper plus 2Ag positive gives copper 2 positive plus 2Ag. Half cell reactions at cathode: 2Ag positive plus 2 electron gives 2Ag. Anode is oxidation. Copper gives copper 2 positive plus 2 electron. It can be seen that sum of these two equations leads to overall reaction in the cell, and that silver electrode act as cathode and copper electrode act as anode. The cell can be represented as copper solid, single line copper 2 positive, double line Ag positive, single line Ag positive. And we have E cell is equals to E right minus E left, that is equals to E Ag positive, single line Ag, E copper 2 positive, single line copper. Measurement of electrode potential. The potential of individual half cell cannot be measured. We can measure only the difference between the two half cell potentials. That gives the EMF of the cell. If we arbitrarily choose the potential of one electrode, then that of other can be determined with respect to this. According to convention, a half cell called standard hydrogen electrode, represented by platinum S, single line H2 gas, and single line H positive aqueous solution, is assigned a zero potential at all temperatures corresponding to the reaction. H positive plus electron gives half H2. The standard hydrogen electrode consists of a platinum electrode coated with platinum black. The electrode is dipped in an acidic solution and pure hydrogen gas is bubbled through it. The concentration of both the reduced and oxidized forms of hydrogen is maintained at unity. This implies that the pressure of hydrogen gas is 1 bar and the concentration of hydrogen ion in the solution is 1 molar. At 298 Kelvin, EMF of the cell standard hydrogen electrode double bar second half cell constructed by taking standard hydrogen electrode as anode and the other half cell as cathode gives the reduction potential of the other half cell. If the concentration of the oxidized and the reduced form of the species in the right hand half cell are unity, then the cell potential is equal to standard electrode potential. ER of the given half cell is equals to ER right minus ER left. EL left for hydrogen electrode is 0. Hence, standard EMF is equals to standard EMF of right cell, which is equals to standard EMF of right cell. The measured EMF of cell platinum solid single bar H2 gas at 1 bar single bar H positive aqueous 1 molar solution double bar copper 2 positive aqueous 1 molar solution single bar copper is 0.34 volt, and it is also the value of standard electrode potential of the half cell corresponding to the reaction copper 2 positive plus 2 electron gives copper. Similarly, the measured EMF of the cell is minus 0.76 volt corresponding to standard potential of the half cell reaction. Zn2 positive plus 2 electron gives Zn. The positive value of standard electrode potential in the first case indicates copper 2 positive ions get reduced more easily than H positive ions. The reverse process cannot occur, that is, hydrogen ions cannot oxidize copper, or alternatively we can say that hydrogen gas can reduce copper ions under the standard conditions described above. Thus, copper does not dissolve in HCl. In nitric acid, it is oxidized by nitrate ion and not by hydrogen ion. The negative value of the standard electrode potential in the second case indicates that hydrogen ions can oxidize zinc. In view of this convention, the half reaction for the Daniell cell can be written as left electrode gives Zn positive plus 2 electron, right electrode gives copper 2 positive plus 2 electron gives copper. The overall reaction of the cell is the sum of our two reactions, and we obtain Zn plus copper 2 positive gives Zn2 positive plus copper. EMF of cell is equals to EMF of right cell minus EMF of left cell. 0.3 volt minus of minus 0.76 volt, that is 1.10 volt. Sometimes metal like platinum or gold are used as inert electrodes. They do not participate in the reaction but provide their surface for oxidation and reduction reactions and for the conduction of electrons. For example, platinum is used in following half cells: hydrogen electrode, platinum solid with hydrogen gas with hydrogen positive ions in aqueous solution. With half cell reaction, H positive plus electron gives half H2 bromine electrode, platinum in aqueous solution of bromine with Br negative aqueous solution. With half cell reaction, half Br2 aqueous solution plus electron gives Br negative. The standard electrode potential are very important, and we can extract a lot of useful information from them. The values of standard electrode potential for some selected half cell reduction reactions are given. If the standard electrode potential of an electrode is greater than 0, then its reduced form is more stable compared to hydrogen gas. Similarly, if the standard electrode potential is negative, then hydrogen gas is more stable than the reduced form of the species. It can be seen that the standard electrode potential for fluorine is the highest in the table, indicating that fluorine gas has the maximum tendency to get reduced to fluoride ions, and therefore fluorine gas is the strongest oxidizing agent and fluoride ion is the weakest reducing agent. Lithium has the lowest electrode potential, indicating that lithium ion is the weakest oxidizing agent, while lithium metal is the most powerful reducing agent in an aqueous solution. It may be seen that as we go from top to bottom, the standard electrode potential decreases, and with this decreases the oxidizing power of the species on the left and increases the reducing power on the species on the right side of the reaction. Electrochemical cells are extensively used for determining pH of solutions, solubility product, equilibrium constants, and other thermodynamic properties, and for potentiometric titrations. Nernst equation. We have assumed in the previous section that the concentration of a species involved in the electrode reaction is unity. This is not always true. Nernst showed that for electrode reaction, Mn positive plus N negative of electron gives M. The electrode potential at any concentration measured with respect to standard hydrogen electrode can be represented by EMF of Mn positive by M is equals to standard EMF minus RT by NF ln M upon Mn positive. But concentration of solid M is taken as unity, as we have Emn positive by M is equals to Emn by M minus RT by NF ln of 1 by concentration of Mn positive. Emn positive by M has already been defined. R is a gas constant, F is Faraday constant, T is temperature in Kelvin, and Mn positive is concentration of species Mn positive. In Daniell cell, the electrode potential for any given concentration of copper 2 positive and Zn2 positive, we write E copper 2 positive to copper is equals to standard EMF of copper 2 positive to copper minus RT by 2F ln 1 by copper 2 positive of aqueous solution. For anode, we write E Zn2 positive by Zen is equals to standard EMF minus RT by 2F ln 1 by Zn2 positive aqueous solution. The cell potential is equals to E standard cell minus RT by 2F ln of concentration of Zn2 positive ion upon copper 2 positive ion. It can be seen that E cell depends on the concentration of both copper and Zn2 positive ions. It increases with increase in the concentration of copper 2 positive ions and decrease in the concentration of Zn2 positive ions. By converting the natural log to base 10 and substituting the value of Rf and T is equals to 298 Kelvin, it reduces to E cell is equals to E standard cell minus 0.059 by 2 log Zn2 positive by copper 2 positive. We should use the same number of electrons for both the electrodes, and thus for the following cell, nickel solid in nickel 2 positive aqueous solution with Ag positive aqueous solution in Ag, the cell reaction is Ni solid plus 2Ag positive gives Ni2 positive plus 2Ag. The Nernst equation can be written as E cell is equals to E standard cell minus RT by 2F ln Ni2 positive by Ag positive square. And for a general electrochemical reaction of the type AA plus BB giving out N electrons, Cc plus DD, Nernst equation can be written as E cell is equals to E standard cell minus RT by NF ln Q is equals to E standard cell minus RT by ln C of C D to the power D, A to the power A, B to the power B upon NF. Equilibrium constant from Nernst equation. If the circuit of Daniell cell is closed, thus we note that the reaction Z in solid plus copper 2 positive gives Zn positive plus copper takes place, and as time passes, the concentration of Zn2 positive keeps on increasing while the concentration of copper 2 positive keeps on decreasing. At the same time, voltage of the cell as read on the voltmeter keeps on decreasing. After some time, we shall note that there is no change in the concentration of copper 2 positive and Zn2 positive at the same time. Voltmeter gives zero reading. This indicates that equilibrium has been attained. In this situation, the Nernst equation may be written as E cell is 0 or E standard size equals to 2.303 RT by 2F log of concentration of Zn2 positive upon copper 2 positive. But at equilibrium, Zn2 positive by copper 2 positive is equals to Kc and T is equals to 298. E cell is equals to 0.059 volt by 2 log Kc is equals to 1.1 volt. Log Kc is equals to 37.288. Kc is equals to 2 into 10 to the power 37 at 298 Kelvin. In general, E cell is equals to 2.303 RT by NF log Kc. Thus, equation gives a relationship between equilibrium constant of the reaction and standard potential of the cell in which that reaction takes place. Thus, equilibrium constants of the reaction, difficult to measure otherwise, can be calculated from the corresponding standard cell value of EMF. Electrochemical cells and gives energy of reaction. Electrical work done in 1 second is equal to electric potential multiplied by total charge passed. If you want to obtain maximum work from a galvanic cell, then charge has to be passed reversibly. The reversible work done by a galvanic cell is equal to decrease in its Gibbs energy, and therefore if the EMF of cell is E and NF is the amount of charge passed, then delta Rg, the Gibbs energy of the reaction, is given by minus NF into E cell. It may be remembered that E cell is an intensive parameter, but delta Rg is an extensive thermodynamic property and the value depends on N. Thus, if we write the reaction, delta Rg is equals to minus 2 Fe cell. But when we write down the reaction, 2 Zn positive plus 2 copper positive gives 2 Zn positive plus 2 copper, delta Rg is equals to minus 4 Fe cell. If the concentration of all reacting species is unity, then E cell is equals to E standard cell, and we have delta Rg is equals to minus NF E cell. Thus, from the measurement of E cell, we can obtain an important thermodynamic property, the Gibbs standard energy of the reaction. From the latter, we can calculate equilibrium constant by the equation Gibbs energy is equals to I minus RT ln K. Conductance of electrolytic solution. It is necessary to define a few terms before we consider the subject of conductance of electricity through electrolytic solutions. The electrical resistance represented by symbol R, and it is measured in ohm, which in terms of SI base units is equal to kg meter square by S cube A square. It can be measured with the help of Wheatstone bridge, with which you are familiar from your study of physics. The electrical resistance of any object is directly proportional to its length L and inversely proportional to its area of cross section A, that is R equals to rho L by A. The constant of proportionality rho is called resistivity, specific resistance. In SI unit are ohm meter, and quite often its multiple ohm centimeter is also used. IUPAC recommends the use of the term resistivity over a specific resistance, and hence in the rest of the book we shall use the term resistivity. Physically, the resistivity for a substance is its resistance when it is 1 meter long and its area of cross section is 1 meter square it can be seen that 1 ohm meter is equals to 100 ohm centimeter, or 1 ohm centimeter is equals to 0.01 ohm meter. The inverse of resistance R is called conductance G, and we have the relation conductance is 1 by R, which is equals to A by rho L. The SI unit of conductance is Siemens, represented by the symbol S, and is equal to ohm inverse, also known as mho or ohm inverse. The inverse of resistivity called conductivity is represented by symbol K, kappa. IUPAC has recommended the use of term conductivity over specific conductance, and hence we shall use the term of conductivity in the rest of the book. The SI units of conductivity are Siemens meter inverse, but quite often kappa is expressed in Siemens centimeter inverse. Conductivity of a material is Siemens meter inverse, and its conductance when it's 1 meter long and its area of cross section is 1 meter square. It may be noted that 1 Siemens centimeter inverse equals to 100 Siemens meter inverse. It can be seen from the table that the magnitude of conductivity varies a great deal and depends on the nature of material. It also depends on the temperature and pressure at which the measurements are made. Materials are classified into conductors, insulators, and semiconductors depending on the magnitude of their conductivity. Metals and their alloys have very large conductivity and are known as conductors. Certain non-metals like carbon black, graphite, and some organic polymers also have electronically conducting. Substances like glass, ceramics, etc., having very low conductivity are known as insulators. Substances like silicon, doped silicon, gallium arsenide, having conductivity between conductors and insulators, are called semiconductors and are important electronic materials. Certain materials called superconductors by definition have zero resistivity or infinite conductivity. Earlier, only metals and their alloys at very low temperatures were known to behave as superconductors, but nowadays a number of ceramic materials and mixed oxides also known to show superconductivity at temperature as high as 150 Kelvin. Electrical conductance through metals is called metallic or electronic conductance and is due to the movement of electrons. The electronic conductance depends on nature and structure of metal, the number of valence electrons per atom, and third is temperature. It decreases with increase of temperature. As the electrons enter at one end and go through the other end, the composition of metallic conductor remains unchanged. The mechanism of conductance through semiconductors is more complex. We already know that every pure water has small amounts of hydrogen and hydroxide ion, which lend it very low conductivity. When electrolytes are dissolved in water, they furnish their own ions in the solution, hence its conductivity also increases. The conductance of electricity by ions present in the solutions is called electrolytic or ionic conductance. The conductivity of electrolytic solutions depends on nature of the electrolyte added, size of the ions produced and their solvation, the nature of solvent and its viscosity, concentration of the electrolyte, and temperature. Passage of direct current through ionic solution over a prolonged period can lead to change its composition due to electrochemical reactions. Measurement of conductivity of ionic solution. We know that accurate measurement of an unknown resistance can be performed on a Wheatstone bridge. However, for measuring the resistance of an ionic solution, we face two problems. Firstly, passing direct current changes the composition of the solution. Secondly, a solution can be connected to the bridge like metallic wire or other solid conductor. The first difficulty is resolved by using an alternating current source of power. The second problem is solved by using a specifically designed vessel called conductivity cell. It is available in several designs and simple ones are shown. Basically, it conducts of platinum electrodes coated with platinum black. These have area of cross section equal to A and are separated by distance L. Therefore, solution confined between these electrodes is a column of length L and area of cross section A. The resistance of column is solution is given by the equation R equals to rho L by A is equals to L by kappa into A. The quantity L by A is called cell constant, denoted by symbol G star. It depends on distance between the electrodes and their area of cross section and has dimension of length inverse and can be calculated if we know L and A. Measurement of L and A is not only convenient but also unreliable. The cell constant is usually determined by measuring the resistance of the cell containing a solution whose conductivity is already known. For this purpose, we generally use KCl solutions whose conductivity is known accurately at various concentrations and at different temperatures. The cell constant G star is then given by equation G star is equals to LA is equals to R into kappa. Once the cell constant is determined, we can use it for measuring the resistance or conductivity of any solution. The set of measurement of resistance is shown. It consists of two resistances R3 and R4, a variable resistance R1 and conductivity cell having the unknown resistance R2. The Wheatstone bridge is fed by an oscillator O. P is suitable detector and the bridge is balanced when no current passes through the detector. Under these conditions, unknown resistance R2 is equals to R1 into R4 by R3. These days, inexpensive conductivity meters are available which can directly read the conductance or resistance of the solution in the conductivity cell. Once the cell constant and the resistance of the solution in the cell is determined, the conductivity of solution is given by the equation kappa is equals to cell constant by R. The conductivity of solution of different electrolytes in the same solvent and at a given temperature differs due to charge and size of ions in which they dissociate. The concentration of ions or ease with which the ions move under potential gradient. It therefore becomes necessary to define a physically more meaningful quantity called molar conductivity, denoted by lambda. It is related to conductivity of the solution of our equation is equals to kappa by C. In the above equation, kappa is expressed in Siemens meter inverse and the concentration in mole meter cube inverse. Then the units of lambda are in Siemens meter square mole inverse. It may be noted that 1 mole meter cube inverse is equals to 1000 liter by meter cube into molarity of mole per liter, and hence lambda is equals to kappa upon 1000 liter meter cube inverse into molarity. If we use Siemens centimeter inverse as the unit for kappa and mole centimeter cube inverse the units of concentration, the units of lambda are Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. It can be calculated by the equation lambda is equals to kappa into 1000 upon molarity. Both the types of units used in literature and are related to each other by equations. 1 Siemens meter square mole inverse equals to 10 to the power Siemens centimeter square mole inverse, or 1 Siemens centimeter square mole inverse is equals to 10 to the power minus 4 Siemens meter square mole inverse. Variation of conductivity and molar conductivity with concentration. Both conductivity and molar conductivity change with the concentration of electrolyte. Conductivity always decreases with decreased concentration both for weak and strong electrolytes. This can be explained by the fact that the number of ions per unit volume that carry the current in a solution decreases on dilution. The conductivity of a solution at any given concentration is the conductance of 1 unit volume of solution kept between two platinum electrodes with unit area of cross section and at a distance of unit length. This is clear from equation G is equals to kappa into A by L. Molar conductivity of a solution at a given concentration is the conductance of the volume V of solution containing 1 mole of electrolyte kept between two electrodes with area of cross section A and distance of unit length. Therefore, lambda is equals to kappa. Lambda is equals to kappa into V. Since L is equals to 1 and A is equals to V, molar conductivity increases with decrease in concentration. This is because the total volume V of the solution containing 1 mole of electrolyte also increases. It has been found that decrease in kappa on dilution of a solution is more than compensated by increase in its volume. Physically, it means that at given concentration, lambda m can be defined as the conductance of the electrolytic solution kept between electrodes of a conductivity cell at unit distance but having area of cross section large enough to accommodate sufficient volume of solution that contains 1 mole of electrolyte. When concentration approaches 0, the molar conductivity, also known as limiting molar conductivity, and is represented by symbol lambda m naught. Variation in lambda m with concentration is different for strong and weak electrolytes. For strong electrolytes, lambda m increases slowly with dilution and can be represented by the equation lambda m is equals to lambda m naught minus a c to the power half. It can be seen that we plot delta m against c to the power 1 by 2. We obtain straight line with intercept equals to lambda m naught and slope equals to minus a. The value of constant A for a given solvent and the temperature depends on the type of electrolyte, that is, the charges on the cation and anion produced on the dissociation of electrolyte in the solution. Thus, NaCl, CaCl2, MgSO4 are known as 1,1, 2,1 and 2,2 electrolytes respectively. All electrolytes of a particular type have the same value for A. Kohlrausch examined lambda m values for a number of strong electrolytes and observed certain irregularities. He noted that the difference in standard lambda m of electrolytes NaX, Kx and X is nearly constant. For example, at 298 Kelvin, it's approximately equals to 23.4 Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. And similarly, it was found that lambda m standard minus lambda m standard of NaBr and NaCl is equals to lambda m standard of KBr minus lambda m standard of KCl, which is approximately equals to 1.8 Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. On the basis of above observations, he enunciated Kohlrausch law of independent migration of ions. The law states that limiting molar conductivity of an electrolyte can be represented as sum of individual contributions of the anion and cation of the electrolyte. If lambda Na positive standard and lambda Cl negative standard are limiting molar conductivity of sodium and chloride ions respectively, then limiting molar conductivity for sodium chloride is equals to sum of lambda Na plus lambda Cl negative. In general, if an electrolyte on dissociation gives V positive cations and V negative anions, then its limiting molar conductivity is given by V positive lambda positive naught plus lambda negative into V negative into lambda negative naught. Hence, lambda positive and lambda negative standard are the limiting molar conductivities of cation and anion respectively. The value of lambda naught for some cations and anions are given below at 298 Kelvin. Weak electrolytes like acetic acid have lower degree of dissociation at higher concentrations, and hence for such electrolytes the change in lambda m with dilution is due to increase in the degree of dissociation and consequently the number of ions in total volume of solution that contains 1 mole of electrolyte. In such cases, lambda m increases steeply on dilution, especially near lower concentrations. Therefore, standard lambda m cannot be obtained by extrapolation of lambda m naught to zero concentration. At infinite dilution, that is concentration C is 0, electrolyte dissociates completely, alpha is equals to 1, but at low concentration the conductivity of solution is so low that it cannot be obtained accurately. Therefore, delta M, standard for weak electrolyte, is obtained by using Colrush law of independent migration of ions at any concentration C. If alpha is degree of dissociation, then it can be approximated to the ratio of molar conductivity lambda m. At the concentration C to the limiting molar conductivity delta m naught, thus we have alpha is equals to delta m by delta m naught, but we know that for a weak electrolyte like acetic acid, Ka is equals to C lambda m square upon lambda m naught into lambda m naught minus lambda m. Application of Colrush law. Using Colrush law of independent migration of ions, it is possible to calculate lambda m naught for any electrolyte from the lambda of individual ions. Moreover, for weak electrolytes like acetic acid, it is possible to determine the value of its dissociation constant once we know that lambda m naught and lambda m at a given concentration C. Electrolytic cells and electrolysis. In an electrolytic cell, external source of voltage is used to bring about a chemical reaction. The electrochemical processes are of great importance in the laboratory and in the chemical industry. One of the simplest electrolytic cell consists of two copper strips dipping in an aqueous solution of copper sulfate. If a DC voltage is applied to two electrodes, then copper 2 positive ion discharge at the cathode and the following reaction takes place. Copper 2 positive plus 2 electron gives copper. Copper metal is deposited on the cathode. At the anode, copper is converted into copper 2 positive ions by the reaction. Copper gives copper 2 positive plus 2 electron. Thus, copper is dissolved at anode and deposited at cathode. This is the basis for an industrial process in which copper impure is converted into copper of high purity. The impure copper is made an anode that dissolved on passing current, and pure copper is deposited at the cathode. Many metals like Na, Mg, aluminium, etc. are produced on large scale by electrochemical reduction of their respective cations, where no soluble chemical reducing agent are available for this purpose. Sodium and magnesium metals are produced by the electrolysis of their fused chlorides, and aluminium is produced by electrolysis of aluminium oxide in presence of cryolite. Quantitative aspects of electrolysis. Michael Faraday was the first scientist to describe quantitative aspects of electrolysis. Now, Faraday's law also flows from what has been discussed earlier. Faraday's law of electrolysis. After his intensive investigations on electrolysis of solution and melts of electrolytes, Faraday established his results during 1833 to 34 in the first form of well-known Faraday's law of electrolysis. First law: the amount of chemical reaction which occurs at an electrode during electrolysis by a current is proportional to the quantity of electricity passed through the electrolyte. Second law: the amounts of different substances liberated by some quantity of electricity passing through electrolyte solution are proportional to their chemical equivalent weights. There were no constant current power sources available during Faraday's time. The general practice was to put a coulometer for determining the quantity of electricity passed from the amount of metal deposited or consumed. However, coulometers are now obsolete and now we have constant current sources available and quantity of electricity Q passed is given by IT. Q is in coulombs when I is in ampere and T is in seconds. The amount of electricity or charge required for oxidation or reduction depends on the stoichiometric of the electrode reaction. For example, in the reaction Ag positive plus electron gives Ag, 1 mole of electron is required for reduction of 1 mole of silver ions. We know that charge on 1 electron is equals to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Therefore, the charge on 1 mole of electron is equals to 96487 coulomb. The quantity of electricity is called Faraday and is represented by symbol F. For approximate collision, we use 1 Faraday equals to 96,500 coulomb mole inverse. For the electrode reaction, magnesium 2 positive plus 2 electron gives magnesium, aluminium 3 positive plus 3 electron gives aluminium. It is obvious that 1 mole of Mg2 positive and Al3 positive require 2 mole of electrons and 3 mole of electrons respectively. The charge passed through the electrolytic cell during electrolysis is equal to the product of current in amperes and time in seconds. In commercial production of metals, current as high as 50,000 amperes are used that amounts to about 0.518 Faraday per second. Products of electrolysis depends on the nature of material being electrolyzed and the type of electrode being used. If the electrode is inert, it does not participate in the chemical reaction and acts only as the source or sink for electrons. On the other hand, if the electrode is reactive, it participates in the electrode reaction. Thus, products of electrolysis may be different for reactive and inert electrodes. The products of electrolysis depends on different oxidizing and reducing species present in the electrolytic cell and their standard electrode potentials. Moreover, some of the electrochemical processes, although feasible, are so slow kinetically that at lower voltages these do not seem to take place. An extra potential called overpotential has to be applied, which makes such process more difficult to occur. For example, if we use molten NaCl, the products of electrolysis are sodium metal and chlorine gas. Here we have only one cation which is reduced at the cathode and one anion which is oxidized at the anode. During the electrolysis of aqueous sodium chloride solution, the products are NaOH, Cl2 and hydrogen. In this case, besides Na positive and Cl negative ions, we also have H positive and OH negative ions along with the solvent molecules. Water. At the cathode, there is competition between the following reduction reactions. Na positive plus electron gives Na. E cell is equals to minus 2.71 volt. Hydrogen plus electron is giving half of hydrogen gas. E cell is equals to 0 volt. The reaction with higher value of E is preferred and therefore the reaction at cathode during electrolysis is H positive plus electron gives half hydrogen. H positive is produced by the dissociation of H2O, that is H2O gives H positive plus OH negative. Therefore the net reaction at the cathode may be written as sum of the both equations and we have H2O gives half H2 plus OH negative on addition of electron. At the anode, following oxidation reaction are possible. Cl negative gives half Cl2 plus electron. E cell is 1.36 volt. 2H2O gives O2 plus 4H positive plus 4 electron. E cell is 1.23 volt. The reaction at anode with lower value of E is preferred and therefore water get oxidized in presence of Cl negative. However, on account of overpotential of oxygen, reaction first is preferred. Thus, the net reaction may be summarized as NaCl plus H2O gives Na positive plus H negative plus half H2 plus half of Cl2. The standard electrode potentials are replaced by electrode potentials given by Nernst equation to take into account the concentration effects during the electrolysis of sulfuric acid. The following processes are possible at anode. 2H2O gives O2 plus 4H positive plus 4 electron, E cell 1.23 volt. 2SO4 2 negative gives SO8 2 negative plus 2 electron, E cell 1.96 volt. For dilute sulfuric acid, reaction above is preferred, and for lower concentration, reaction equation 3.39 is preferred. Batteries. Any battery, actually it may be one or more than one cell connected in series or that we use as a source of electrical energy, is basically a galvanic cell where the chemical energy of the redox reaction is converted into electrical energy. However, for a battery to be practical use, it should be reasonably light, compact, and its voltage should not vary appreciably during its use. There are two batteries, mainly primary batteries. In the primary batteries, the reaction occurs only once, and after a period of time, battery always becomes dead and cannot be reused again. The most familiar of this is dry cell, which is used commonly in our transistor and clocks. The cell consists of zinc container that also acts as anode, and cathode is a carbon graphite rod surrounded by powdered manganese dioxide and carbon. The space between electrodes is filled with a moist paste of ammonium chloride and zinc chloride. The electrode reactions are complex, but they can be written approximately as follows. Anode Zn gives Zn2 positive plus 2 electron. Cathode MnO2 plus NH positive plus electron gives MnOOH plus NH3. In the reaction at cathode, manganese is reduced from plus 4 oxidation state to plus 3 state. Ammonia introduced in reaction forms a complex with Zn2 positive to give ZnNH3 whole 4 2 positive. The cell has a potential of nearly 1.5 volt. Mercury cell suitable for low current devices like hearing aids, watches, consists of zinc mercury amalgam as anode and a paste of HgO and carbon as cathode. The electrolyte is a paste of KOH and ZnO. The electrode reactions for cell are given below. Anode Zn Hg plus 2OH negative gives ZnO plus H2O plus 2 negative. HgO plus H2O plus 2 electron gives Hg plus 2OH negative. The overall reaction is represented by Zn Hg plus HgO gives ZnO plus Hg. The cell potential is approximately 1.35 volt and remains constant during its life, as the overall reaction does not involve any ion in solution whose concentration can change during its lifetime. Secondary batteries. A secondary cell after use can be recharged by passing current through it in the opposite direction so that it can be used again. A good secondary cell can undergo a large number of discharging and charging cycles. The most important secondary cell is the lead storage battery, commonly used in automobiles and inverters. It consists of a lead anode and a grid of lead packed with lead oxide as cathode. 38% of sulfuric acid is used as electrolyte. The cell reaction when the battery is in use are given below. Anode Pb plus SO4 2 positive gives PbSO4 plus 2 electron. Cathode PbO2 plus SO4 2 negative plus 4 hydrogen positive ion plus 2 electron gives PbSO4 plus 2 H2O. Overall reaction consisting of cathode and anode is Pb plus PbO2 plus 2 H2SO4 gives 2 PbSO4 plus 2 H2O. On charging, the battery reaction is reversed and PbSO4 on anode and cathode is converted into Pb and PbO2 respectively. Another important secondary cell is nickel cadmium cell, which has stronger life than the lead storage cell but more expensive to manufacture. We shall not go into details of working of the cell and the electrode reactions during charging and discharge. Working of the cell and electrode reactions during charging and discharging. The overall reaction during discharge is Cd plus 2NiOH whole thrice gives CdO plus 2NiOH whole twice plus H2O. Fuel cells production of electricity by thermal plants is not a very efficient method and is major source of pollution. In such plants, the chemical energy of fossil fuels is first used for converting water into high pressure steam. This is then used to run a turbine to produce electricity. We know that a galvanic cell directly converts chemical energy into electricity and is highly efficient. It is now possible to make such cells which reactants are fed continuously to the electrodes and products are removed continuously from the electrolyte compartment. Galvanic cells are designed to convert the energy of combustion of fuels like hydrogen, methane, methanol directly into electrical energy called fuel cells. One of the most successful fuel cells uses the reaction of hydrogen with oxygen to form water. The cell was used for providing electrical power in the Apollo space program. The water vapors produced during the reaction were condensed and added to the drinking water supply for astronauts. In the cell, the water vapor produced during the reaction were condensed and added to the drinking water supply for astronauts. In the cell, hydrogen and oxygen are bubbled through porous carbon electrodes into concentrated aqueous sodium hydroxide solution. Catalysts like finely divided platinum and palladium metal are incorporated into the electrodes for increasing the rate of electrode reactions. The electrode reactions are overall reaction being 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. The cell runs continuously as long as the reactants are supplied. Fuel cells produce electricity with an efficiency of about 70% compared to thermal plants, whose efficiency is about 40%. There has been tremendous progress in deployment of new electrode materials, better catalysts, and electrolytes for increasing the efficiency of fuel cells. These have been used in automobiles on an experimental basis. Fuel cells are pollution free, and in view of their future importance, a variety of fuel cells have been fabricated and tried. Corrosion. Corrosion slowly coats the surface of metallic objects with oxides or other salts of the metal. The rusting of iron, tarnishing of silver, development of green coating on copper and bronze are some of the examples of corrosion. It causes enormous damage to buildings, bridges, ships, and to all objects made of metals, especially that of iron. We lose crores of rupees every year on account of corrosion. In corrosion, a metal is oxidized by loss of friction to oxygen and formation of oxides. Corrosion of iron, commonly known as rusting, occurs in presence of water and air. The chemistry of corrosion is quite complex, but it may be considered essentially as an electrochemical phenomena. At a particular spot of an object made of iron, oxidation takes place and that spot behaves as anode, and we can write the reaction as 2Fe gives 2Fe2 positive plus 4 electron. Standard EMF of cell is equals to minus 0.44 volt. Electrons released at anodic spot move through the metal and go to another spot on the metal and reduce oxygen in presence of hydrogen plus, which is believed to be available from H2CO3 formed due to the solution of carbon dioxide from air into water. Hydrogen ion in water may also be available due to dissolution of other acidic oxides from the atmosphere. This spot behaves as cathode with the reaction cathode O2 plus 4H positive plus 4 electron gives 2H2O. The overall reaction being 2Fe plus O2 plus 4H positive gives 2Fe2 positive plus 2H2O. E cell is equals to 1.67 volt. The ferrous ions are further oxidized by atmospheric oxygen to ferric ions, which come out as rust in the form of hydrated ferric oxide and with further production of hydrogen ions. Prevention of corrosion is of prime importance. It not only saves money but also saves in preventing accidents such as bridge collapse or failure of a key component due to corrosion. One of the simplest methods of preventing corrosion is to prevent the surface of metallic object to come in contact with atmosphere. This can be done by covering the surface with paint or some chemicals. Another simple method is to cover the surface by the metals that is are inert or react to save the object. An electrochemical method is to provide sacrificial electrode of another metal which corrodes itself but saves the object. The hydrogen economy. At present, the main source of energy that is driving our economy is fossil fuels such as coal, oil, gas. As more people on the planet aspire to improve their standard of living, their energy requirement will increase. In fact, the per capita consumption of energy used is a measure of development. Of course, it is assumed that energy is used for productive purpose and not merely wasted. We are already aware that carbon dioxide produced by the combustion of fossil fuels is resulting in greenhouse effect. This is leading to a rise in temperature of our surface, causing polar ice to melt and ocean levels to rise. This will flood low-lying areas along the coast and some island. Nations such as Maldives face total submergence. In order to avoid such a catastrophe, we need to limit for our use of carbonaceous fuels. Hydrogen provides an ideal alternative as its combustion results in water only. Hydrogen provides must come from splitting water using solar energy. Therefore, hydrogen can be used as a renewable and non-polluting source of energy. This is the vision of hydrogen economy. Both the production of hydrogen atoms by electrolysis of water and hydrogen combustion in a fuel cell will be important in future, and both these technologies are based on electrochemical principles. Summary: an electrochemical cell consists of two metallic electrodes dipping in electrolytic solution. Thus, an important component of electrochemical cell is the ionic conductor or electrolyte. Electrochemical cells are of two types. In galvanic cell, the chemical energy of a spontaneous redox reaction is converted into electrical work, whereas in an electrical cell, electrical energy is used to carry out a non-spontaneous redox reaction. The standard electrode potential for any electrode dipping in an intermediate solution is defined with respect to standard electrode potential of hydrogen electrode taken as 0. The standard potential of the cell can be obtained by taking difference of standard potentials of cathode and anode. The standard potential of cells are related to standard Gibbs energy and equilibrium constant of the reaction taking place in the cell. Concentration depends on the potential of the electrodes and takes place and the cells are given by Nernst equation. The conductivity kappa of an electrolytic solution depends on concentration of electrolyte, nature of solvent and temperature. Molar conductivity is defined by kappa by C, where C is concentration. Conductivity decreases but molar conductivity increases with decrease in concentration. It increases slowly with decrease in concentration for strong electrolytes, while the increase is very steep for weak electrolytes in very dilute solution. Kohlrausch found that molar conductivity at infinite dilution for an electrolyte is sum of the contribution of molar conductivity of the ions in which it dissociates. It is also known as law of independent migration of ions and has many applications. Ions conduct electricity through the solution, but oxidation and reduction of ions takes place at the form of galvanic cell. Corrosion of metals is essentially an electrochemical phenomena. Electrochemical principles are relevant to hydrogen economy.